Have you ever thought about the fact that for 5,000 years humanity has not developed at all? And over the past 100 years, skyscrapers have grown instead of wooden houses. People have cars, smartphones, and robots. Remember your childhood. What you are using now would have seemed fantastic to you 30 years ago. According to official history, mankind lived long before our era. But why was Antarctica discovered only in 1820? Why was America formed only in 1776? Electricity was discovered in 1831, but less than 200 years have passed, as we are already sitting at computers and warming up food in the microwave. Why didn't humanity develop at such a pace before? There is a theory that the official history is simply rewritten. Darwin's theory does not stand up to any criticism, because there is not a single transitional form of life on Earth. For millions of years, man has been eating with his hands and living in a cave, and over the past 300 years he has moved from a pen to a smartphone. Somewhere we are being deceived. Either we are 300 years old, or 300 years ago we were deprived of all technologies and pushed back in development deeply. About 300 years ago, some kind of catastrophe, a global event, or even a lightning war could have occurred. After this event, the so-called elite could take all the knowledge and technology for themselves and throw ordinary people back in development for 1,000 years. It is easy to manage those who do not know their history and do not have knowledge. Therefore, the most common thoughts and stable judgments are frankly false. Starting to understand the genesis of such statements, you either come to an outright fool as a source, or you stumble upon a total distortion of the basic idea over the centuries. Well, who and when dropped that fools are easy to control. And what is meant by stupidity? Lack of education. But that's nonsense. It is easy to control weak-willed and cowardly people. Dozens of scientists easily bend under the main line of the ruling class, and not because they believe him, but simply cleverly believe that it is easier to receive grants this way. Genuine stupidity is more terrible than any malice. Evil can be objected to, it can be exposed, or at least suppressed by force. It carries corruption and decay, and the villain himself suffers from its burden. Few people have seen happy scoundrels, but we are defenseless against stupidity. Nothing can be achieved here either by force or by reason. Fools do not believe facts that contradict their own judgment, but they dispute them in a stupid rage, and if the facts are irrefutable, they are called an accident. At the same time, the fool is absolutely calm in conscience and pleased with himself. It is impossible to control fools in principle. All these unidentified flying objects that people observe all over the world may be technology that is being hidden from us. They also lie to us about the population of the Earth. There are no 7 billion. The population is rapidly decreasing every year. This is especially noticeable in the East. But what happened 300 years ago? There are many structures, finds and traces of mining activity on Earth that cannot be replicated even by modern technologies. For example, Babel of Bads or Indian columns. This can only be done by machine processing, having a high level of industrial production. The Alexandrian column in St. Petersburg cannot be made without turning in a lathe and high-speed polishing machines. How could you build buildings out of blocks that weigh 100 tons? What happened in those days is carefully hidden from us, but the facts confirm that there was a developed civilization on our planet before the 1700th year. According to the structures and numerous traces of mining, it is possible to judge the developed industry and high-tech tools. After the 1700th year, all technologies, tools and knowledge disappeared. Mendeleev came up with the table of chemical elements in 1869, but to create an iron column in India that does not rust, much more modern knowledge is needed. Even now, we will not be able to create such pure iron. There are pyramids all over the planet, but people still don't know about their purpose. Or maybe they decided to hide all this knowledge from people and rewrite history. This was done in order to manage the population. The shadow world government has technologies and developments that we never dreamed of. They could reinvent the steam engine and plant a periodic table of chemical elements. They control our knowledge and technology to always have an advantage over us. It's 2025th year, and artificial intelligence is everywhere. Artificial intelligence systems run hospitals, airlines, and fight each other in the courtroom. Productivity has reached unprecedented levels, and countless previously unimaginable enterprises have grown at an incredible rate, providing tremendous progress in well-being. New products, medicines, and innovations appear on the market every day as science and technology come to the fore. And yet the world is becoming more unpredictable and more fragile. And generative artificial intelligence is just the tip of the iceberg. Its appearance marks the moment of the Big Bang, the beginning of a world-changing technological revolution that will change politics, economics, and society. Like past technological waves, artificial intelligence will combine incredible growth and opportunities with huge disruptions and risks. But unlike previous waves, it also initiates a seismic shift in the structure and balance of world power, as it threatens the status of nation-states as the main global geopolitical forces. Whether they admit it or not, the creators of artificial intelligence are themselves geopolitical forces, and their sovereignty over it is further strengthened by the nascent technopolar order in which technology companies wield such power in their possessions that was once reserved for nation-states. Over the past decade, large technology firms have actually become independent, sovereign players in the digital spheres they have created. Artificial intelligence accelerates this trend and extends it far beyond the digital world. The complexity of the technology and the speed of its development will make it almost impossible for governments to adopt appropriate regulations within a reasonable time frame. If governments don't catch up soon, they may never do it. The conclusion from this story can be drawn as follows. People come and go, states appear and collapse, nations form, clash in wars and disappear. One thing doesn't change. God's millstones grind slowly but surely, and the final destination of our route is probably the same as on Mars. But even in this case, God's millstones will most likely not stop, so we humans will kindly develop and build self-replicating robots by the time they take our place. They will not depend on the composition of the atmosphere, and we will go down in history. In addition, the logic of the process suggests that whoever benefits from this, our departure from the scene, will not be very upset. Apparently, he's not here and he doesn't live here. Of course, I would like to know who these people are. As we all know, there are intermediaries between the Lord and us. These are God's chosen ones. We need a dialogue about this. In general, Judaism and the religions derived from it, in the light of the revealed facts, are presented as a system of managing the planet for a percentage. Periodically, when workers begin to understand what is really happening and begin to rebel, they have to arrange the collapse of the system by organizing wars and a generation gap. But what is to be is bound to happen. The power is in the truth. And the truth is that a society living in a closed system, continuously multiplying and determined to consume more tomorrow than yesterday, is doomed as soon as it reaches the ceiling in terms of the amount of available energy or territory. It is possible to develop and multiply endlessly only in an infinite universe.